Colorado, I do believe, is bowl game bound this year. Now, Deion has flipped the roster again. You think back last year, 72 signees, the number 1 ranked transfer class, retaining just 10 scholarship players from the previous regime. Everybody watched them. The problem is they kind of fell off a cliff after what was a really impressive start to the season at 3-0. Now, here's the problem. The offensive line was a huge issue. The defense was a disaster. They got blown out by Stanford. One of the worst, not blown out. They got blown out in the second half against Stanford after putting together a 29-0 lead. They finished 4-8, and they were last in the Pac-12. 45 of those 72 players for Colorado that Deion brought in last year are already gone. So a lot of turnover. Here's the good news. Deion Sanders is always going to give you a chance. All right? He is always going to put you in position to go out and potentially steal one. If everyone else on the offense doesn't play well, he has enough juice and game to be able to elevate all those other players to potentially secure a victory against a better roster. That's how good he is. Having an elite quarterback is the ultimate neutralizer, and I believe Deion Sanders is elite. Needs to be better in the pocket, though. Took way too many sacks. And while the offensive line was disastrous in many ways. Guys, they gave up 52 sacks. Okay? It's not good. We know it's not good. I think Shedeur can help them out occasionally if he can just get the ball out of his hands just a little bit quicker. They are deep at wide receiver. Okay, you bring back Travis Hunter, who was outstanding last year, playing both sides of the ball. 700 yards, 57 balls caught, missed some time there in the middle of the season. Jimmy Horn is back. Omarion Miller showed some potential at times. 200 yards against USC, so maybe he can build on that performance. And the transfer of Will Shepherd from Vanderbilt is significant. Had 2,000 plus yards and 21 touchdowns playing against great competition on a weekly basis in the Southeastern Conference. The entire offensive line, the liability that was last year, is gone. All right, 10 spots in the O-line too deep, only 2 guys are back. That's probably a good thing, considering how much of a liability it was. And the guys that they went out and brought in are guys that have Power 5 experience. You go out and get a guy from Indiana. You get a guy from Houston. You bring in the number 1 rated offensive lineman in the 2024 recruiting class as well at left tackle, so he can probably play right away. That's all really beneficial, and I think the turnover at that position group in particular was necessary. Let's go next to the defensive side. Robert Livingston, he's the new defensive coordinator. Going to be tough for him to elevate this defense based on where they were last year. They had another massive haul in the transfer portal, and they addressed some of the question marks that they had along the defensive front. That was the biggest issue. The defensive line was not capable of playing at a crazy high level last year. They just weren't. So they go out, they add a couple of great pieces, a couple of blue chip prospects, a couple from Pitt, a couple from other places that might be able to jump on that defensive line and elevate that group immediately. I do think they've done a pretty good job this year in the portal addressing some of the concerns from last year. The problem is the league that they're moving into is all about the offensive and defensive lines. Think about some of the teams that they're going to be facing, and we'll go to the schedule here in a moment. Even when you get North Dakota State in week 1, North Dakota State's going to try to pound the football. Nebraska on the road, pound the football. UCF, Gus Malzahn, they want to pound the football. Kansas State, they want to run it like crazy. Cincinnati, even at times, probably going to try to run it. Texas Tech, we just talked a moment ago about their running back. All right, their running back went for over 1,500 yards last year. They are going to pound the football. Utah can pound it. Kansas is absolutely going to try to run the ball, not pound it as much, but live with speed. And Oklahoma State has the Doak Walker Award winner at running back. So the schedule is extremely difficult. And the matchups for Colorado are something that I don't yet feel great about. I expect them to be improved, but this is a see it to believe it business. I anticipate strides taken, and I do anticipate them getting to the postseason, but making a ton of noise in the Big 12, that is a bridge too far at this moment.